Hi everybody, my name is Veit Schiffmann, and I'd like to talk about 4K, Full HD and 4K. This is not a report about a camera, this is more a kind of my private thought about that. Maybe it's more a philosophic aspect of 4K and the future that way. So if you expect a report, sorry, there's no report about the camera or the technology. It's about the technology, but not about the camera, a special camera. First of all, I want to say really thank to all these thousands of people who are working in this technology, who develop new camera systems, who develop a new sensor, and it's a great job. It's fantastic what's going on in the moment. And I appreciate this very much. This is enormous. The industry, what's going on there, and the people who hold a community who is interested in that, that's enormous. That's really great. The people doing excellent jobs. And I think it's a big support for the present and the future. But I have also my little doubts, and I'm thinking about special for me, I'm more the artist than the technologic freak. So I think about my end product, and there I have something in my mind what I try to explain, so I hope I can transmit this. I think the big advantage of 4K, or even bigger, because the future will probably sell us now 4K, and in some years we will get cameras with 8K or even more. The big advantage is you have the what we can buy at the moment. We can buy more sharpness, more detail. We can buy a bigger frame where we can take out little frames and can decide, okay, we have done a 4K big frame shot, and we can take out a full HD and can say we want to have the left side, the right side, up, down. We can move it, we can zoom in the picture and things like that. It's a big advantage. Great. We have it definitely more sharp, it's more details, it might be brighter and clearer. But I'm asking, if I want to get the message, and when I watch a movie and I'm fascinated by the movie and I'm drifting away in the whole story because it's such a great story by the pictures, such a great story by the, maybe in combination with the music or with whatever happens here in this scene or in this whole movie, then I forget the details. I forget complete. Anything, is the color perfect, is this, it's not so important for me at this moment. I'm drifting away in the story, and I'm packed and grabbed, and the story takes me complete, and then I'm impressed. This is a kind of great movie for me. And I thought about that. I watch a lot of the new screens, you can see it in the different markets, of 4K compared to Full HD. And I have sitting there and watched half a movie, part of a movie, and I've seen this. It's very sharp, it's perfect in the detail, but to consume this all, I have to take out a little part and watch here the detail of the frame and say, oh, it's great, I can see really what time the guy has on the watch. It is, wow, incredibly, I can see every detail. I can read the newspaper he's reading in the back there, and so it's fantastic. But I forget the whole scenery, and I'm not focused anymore on the whole scenery. If I want to get the whole picture, the whole frame, I have to go back to have the right distance, and then I have no difference, in my mind, no difference between Full HD and 4K. I just some days ago grabbed in my old movies when I started 20 years ago or even longer with the first video, and this was in the frame size was 4 to 3, so it was nearly a square format, and the technology was incredibly bad against that what we have nowadays. And I was fascinated by the story what was there, and I thought, oh my god. And we thought at this time this was a great quality of movies. It was TV production, something like that, and we had been all impressed 20 years ago. Oh, I have my own video camera and I can make something in high 8 or whatever was the at this time. So I think this is a point where I'm thinking about where we go into the future. Nothing against the technology, but it might be that we forget a little bit what we want to transport, what is his really important things are. If I think about the advantage of 4K, at the moment, if the technology develops faster, it might be completely different in 1 year or 2 years. But in the moment, I have only the possibility with a consumer camera to get 25 frames, maybe 30 frames with UHD, ultra high definition, or 4K. I have mostly 24, 25 frames. And so it's perfect and brilliant, but to have fast moving in these shots, it's, for my opinion, a little bit too slow. I like very much the fluent, slow going, so that you don't see it like this. Yeah, I don't like this cinema effect so much. Many people are afraid about like it very much. They are not afraid. So for me, it's not so. Personally, I don't like. I like it much more if it is smooth moving. So special. If you make slow motion out of this, you have more frames. It's much more easier to do some slow motion. The advantage of 4K, if I have, for example, something handheld and it was shaking, I can stabilize it afterwards in the post-production much more easier, because I have more frame around. I can shut out more things. I have it more stabilized. It's a big advantage. But to stabilize a 4K picture afterwards, it takes much more rendering time, because my computer is not, it is a fast machine, but it is not so fast to compare it with Full HD. I have the 4 times bigger size and the 4 times bigger work to do, so it takes probably 4 times longer. I have to be very patient to get the result at the end. It's one factor I don't like so much, because I'm curious. I want to see, okay, I did a shot and I want to put it together and want to see a result. Is it okay? And mostly if I've done a clip and I've done a short movie, I watch it and decide, no, this is not so good, and change it afterwards. And I change it mostly 3 times or 4 times, and I want to have it in the process fluid, and I want to go through the process like creating something at one piece. And if I be done and finished, it's finished. I never touch it later again. It's out of the house, out of everything, and I start a new project. This is something what is a little bit a problem for me. The period that it takes so much time, or you need so much more resources. You have to grade up your machine. You have to buy new equipment. So it's not only the camera I have to get. I'm fascinated by that, but all the parts around bring this. I get struggling in this situation a little bit. If I'm a professional movie maker, no question, I have to go in this direction, 4K, 6K, whatever. If I want to make movies because I have to transport the story, I mostly will watch my movies on a screen like this, on a computer screen. I watch the most movies of other people. They produce movies at YouTube, Vimeo, whatever, on the screen, by internet. And I get the information so precise, so clear, so good, that I'm really happy with that. I'm not gonna buy a 4K huge screen for at home and sit there and watch whatever. In the moment it's not perfect. The transmission by the TV broadcast is only, I think, Full HD or HD even. So 4K in the moment is not existing. I can say I wait. But the question in my mind is more, I'm very fascinated by technology, but the question is, where we are going to, and do we focus completely in the technology and forget the message we want to transport? I've seen great movies, HD, full HD, with wonderful pictures, beautiful whatever. I was fascinated by the story, and I never recognized was this 4K or full HD. That was absolutely not important for me. It's only my opinion. I think if a small little consumer camera is able to record in 4K at the same time in 50 or 60 frames per second, and can play it out on a little card so they don't have an external recorder, and the files are small enough so that I can work on a nearly normal computer fast enough and render that all, then it's the point where I think it's interesting, might be interesting. For me personal, a movie is like a classroom. I'm back in the classroom of school. I like watching movies, a lot of movies what, for example, you guys are doing, because they tell a story. I can see different parts of stories of the world, of different ways how people think, what people are interested in, what they think this is really good to show. And it's fascinating because there are so many different points of view of our humankind, of life, what we are doing on this planet here. I'm very fascinated by that, and I appreciate this very much. So, for me personal, the story behind is more important than the technology. I appreciate all the companies, they work on the technology and improve that all the time. That's a great job. That's perfect, because this gives us the tools to go further on, to make more stories, to create something new. I remember very good, it was probably 15 years ago or even longer, then the first small Sony cameras came out on the market. It was a digital one, and the broadcasting companies, they had the huge shoulder cameras, and they could only take special shots from this position all the time. And then came guys with the little Sony camera, put it down on the ground and slide it on the ground and moved it up or brought it in a position from down to up, and guys was fascinated by this new point of view. So the technology did make it possible. That's great, that's really great. But what I want to say is, I think again important is, what does the story tell, and how does I catch it in the frame I have? Maybe at the end of this little report of ideas, let me tell you where I'm coming from. I'm coming from when I was 8. My father gave me as a present a little Kodak Instamatic camera, and then I got a Russian copy of a Leica, and I started with about 10 years to make photographic pictures, black and white film, and I had no I calculate the exposure time. It is sunshine, well, take f-stop 8 or 11 and take 100-second time and something like that. And I was fascinating since that time from photography. And photography is a frame where you have to create a composition in this frame. So for me, most important is the composition. My main profession, I'm a painter. So the composition is the most important part. So if I take the camera and make a movie, the composition is for me important. More important, the whole frame, how is the composition, than to have the detail, every detail extreme sharp. I appreciate, or in the last years it got very famous with the DSLR cameras. You can change the lenses, and you can have, with the bigger sensor, you have a character of the old movies. You have a tele lens, and you have a wide open f-stop, and you have a tiny little this tiny little part of the whole picture, the nose and the eye, it's sharp, and the rest is not sharp, it's blurry, it drifts away in some fantastic color field. So it's a great composition in my mind, because you focus on some detail and you are able to do things like that. But how do I need 4K for a blurry background? I wouldn't need it. Nothing against the way where we're going or the technology is going to, but I think it's important not only to focus on the technology. Think about also about what is the composition, what you want to show, how can you show it with little things, and then the movie can be fascinating. And I think this is more important, to transport the message and enjoy that, because then it's a great product. I myself, I like to watch in YouTube or Vimeo videos or whatever I see by people. They think about what they're doing, they express, they show me some feeling about a beautiful landscape, about the journey, about some whatever personal stuff. It's a recommendation, it's really interesting. I appreciate it very much. Okay, so much about a little bit my philosophy about 4K and where we move on. Yeah, okay, thanks for watching. Bye.